Welcome back everybody, Matt the Matt here, hope you're doing well. So today is the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is the fourth book, or the fourth movie, also the fourth book in the Harry Potter series. Came out November 18th, 2005. I was a sophomore in high school, almost the end of the first semester, and at this time we were already been waiting about a year and a half for the next Harry Potter movie. The last one came out in June of 2004, and that was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, directed by Alfonso Cuarón, still considered one of the best Harry Potter movies in the franchise. But the fourth book was also one of the came out when I first started reading Harry Potter in the summer of 2000. So the book is now 25 years old. And it was one of the first books I read. I read the second one, then the first one. Then I read the third one, then the fourth one. But the fourth book came out that summer. I started reading Harry Potter. Now, and this at the time was considered one of the longest books in the franchise, in the series, I guess. We're talking about book series. It's still considered, I think, the second or third longest book behind the fifth one and the seventh one. And I remember hearing, like, how are they gonna make the fourth book into a movie? They tried with the tournament. They got the whole stuff with, Voldemort in the final act of the movie, in the book. But there's also a lot of other stuff that happens in the book that was never put into the movie. All of Hermione Granger's side story, which is a good 40 to 50 pages in the book, is never in the movie. The whole, her freeing the house elves and the initiatives. That's not in the movie at all. And that was one of the things that people were like, are they going to be able to make this into one movie? Well, this is one of those times that you could argue maybe they should have made this movie into two parts. Part one, part two. Because there's a lot that happens in this book. And I understand, when they made the third movie, they said, hey, we're going to only focus on Harry Potter. He's the main character. Any side story that doesn't have to do with Harry Potter, we're not going to do it in the movie. The only problem is, when you get into the other books, there's a lot that happens that doesn't have to do with Harry Potter, but it's still very important. And they kind of didn't do that with this movie. But let's get into the movie. This one was directed by Mike Newell. Alfonso Cuarón was offered to return, but he didn't. I wish he did. I really would have loved to see what he would have done with this movie, with each of the Triwizard tournaments. How he would have brought his unique look and cinematography like he did in the third movie. But Mike Newell came in. This one we also have a lot of new actors coming into this movie. Brendan Gleeson, the great Brendan Gleeson, came in to play Mad Eye Moody. And he did an amazing job. You had Robert Pattinson making his film debut as Cedric Diggory. Who would have thought that Robert Pattinson would then go on to be in Twilight 3 years later in November of 2008. And then, of course, then now currently being the new Batman for Matt Reeves. I mean, talking about a career. Potter, Twilight, Batman. I wish we got more of Cedric Diggory in the movie. I know he's a lot more in the book. But once again, they only focus on Harry. We also got David Tennant as Barty Crouch Jr. Talking about perfect casting. I wish we got more of him now in the other books, in the other movies. David Tennant. Hey, I would even say right now with the Harry Potter TV series, and they came out and said that David Tennant was going to be the new Voldemort, I would have been like, oh yeah. Voldemort, we finally are introduced to Lord Voldemort, Tom Riddle, in his true form in this movie in the third act. And they got the great Ray Fiennes to come in here and play Lord Voldemort. Another perfect casting, if you will. And, this movie, I haven't read the book in 25 years, so I can't speak based on book, movie, how did they do. But I can say, in terms of the Triwizard Tournaments, the dragon sequence, really good. The underwater sequence, fun, cool, scary at times. And then the maze was interesting. No, each of the three tasks, if you will, work. They have a bigger budget, they can do more. Also, the actors themselves, Harry, Ron, Hermione, were really starting to get into their roles. I love how this one started to deal with that teen romance. You have the Yule Ball tournament, or Yule Ball dance. It provided a lot of humor in the movie, especially with Ron, with his robes. They look like my Aunt Tessie. They even smell like my Aunt Tessie. Murder me, Harry. The graveyard scene where we get Lord Voldemort. What a great scene. I wish it was longer. And then it's interesting to go and watch this movie without doing a marathon, because normally I like to do a marathon of all the Harry Potter movies. But when I just sat down the other night and watched this on its own without, doing a marathon, this movie doesn't have enough in it. For over 2.5 hours, one of the longer movies of the franchise, it needed more. Like, we never see the Triwizard Cup. Isn't that it? The Quidditch World Cup. Quidditch. I mean, that was the thing. Why would you set that up and not show it at all? In the book, it's an entire chapter. So, like, stuff like that, like, you don't show the Quidditch World Cup, which was huge in the book. You don't have the Hermione and the House Elves stuff. You really don't have a lot of intimate moments. Like the third movie with Lupin and Harry having a lot of those quieter moments in the movie. You don't have that in this movie. This movie is 2.5 hours. It's a well-paced movie, but you realize we just go from major set piece to major set piece. Whether it's the dragon, whether it's the Yule Ball in between the two tasks, would take them about 20-30 minutes. Which is fun, it gives some relief between the tournaments. And then we go to the water one, and then we go to the maze. And just in between the maze and the water in the maze one, we have the scene where Harry realizes that Barney Crouch Jr. is, who he is in that courtroom flashback. And then we get to the maze and the graveyard and then the ending. And like I said, it's just boom, boom, boom. The only quiet moment we have in the whole movie is at the very end between Dumbledore and Harry after the aftermath of everything, which is a typical in most Harry Potter movies. I wish we got some more quieter moments. Like I said, I wish they found a way. And there's another thing, like, in 2005, we had the remake of King Kong come out. That was 3 hours. We just got done with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which each of those were almost 3 hours. Well, the third one was 3.5 hours. This, even if they didn't want to do a 2-part movie with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I would say you could have done You should have made this movie 3 hours. In fact, the credits start rolling at 2 hours and 23 minutes, which means you will have almost 40 minutes. Now you should have had 40 minutes of screen time and have the Hermione stuff, put 15, 20 minutes on that, and then add some more character moments. Show the Quidditch World Cup. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute scene. You can have a 10-minute scene, a 5-minute scene, a montage even. But that's the type of stuff I go, you could have made this a 3-hour movie. If you were going to sit for 2.5 hours, and they're the same people that saw Lord of the Rings, or are going to go see the King Kong remake a month later, then why not make one of the longest books in the franchise a 3-hour movie? And guess what? That could have been a test. That could have been a great test, too. Like, hey, let's do this with the fourth one. See if people can hold for 3 hours and not complain. Because the fifth book is even longer than the fourth book. And the sixth book, they didn't have to do that. Sixth book is actually one of the shorter books. So it would have only been the fourth, fifth, and the seventh when they split into 2 parts anyway. So, I still enjoy the movie. I think rather than the Triwizard Tournament is the highlight of the movie, and the Yule Ball stuff, which adds some humor, romance. But overall, what did you think of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire? Once again, it was a movie that, once again, went in a darker tone. They killed a student in the movie, in the book and the movie. That's something that hadn't been done yet before. We were introduced to Robert Pattinson. We got the great Brendan Gleeson, Ray Fiennes in there. So, what do you think of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire? Is this one of your favorite books? One of my favorite books in the series. Is it one of your favorite movies? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Matt the Bat